Hello science lovers, welcome to the club of science. We call it Vigyan Club. So this is our first video. So we are now going to teach you about the house wiring system, how the wirings are done in our house to control them by switches. So first of all, let me first explain you some basic concepts like what is a series connection and what is a parallel connection. Let's begin with what is a series connection. Series connection is something like, suppose this is our battery, we have some load here, we call it resistance 1, another one is resistance 2, and like this. So in this way, this is the positive terminal, this is the negative terminal. The current is flowing from positive to negative such a way that it pierces through load 1 and goes to load 2 from inside and then goes to the negative of the battery. In this way the circuit is completed. So this is called a series connection. Let me tell you what is a parallel connection. Parallel connection is something like, this is our battery, this is positive, this is negative. Now I have applied a load, let's suppose R1, and the other terminal of R1 is connected to the battery, to the negative terminal, and from these two endpoints of this load I am connecting another load, let's suppose resistance 2. So this arrangement of load is said to be in parallel. So what happens here is current flows like this, and when the current source, there are two now divisions of this connecting elements or the connecting wires. It divides it into two separate parts, and again it joins back at the other end of two loads, and it flows back to the negative terminal of battery, and the circuit is completed. Now, so this was some basic concepts on series connection and parallel connection. Let me now tell you about how the electricity reaches our home from the poles in our streets. Suppose these are the poles which are in our streets, and these are carrying the electrical wires to my house. Outside the house there is a box which records the electrical consumption of your house. We call this box as meter. First of all, the two wires from these poles goes into the meter. The two wires are, one is phase and one is neutral. Most of the people call it live wire and a neutral wire. The potential of live wire depends on the country which you are residing. For example, in India, the potential of the live wire is 220 volts. In US, the potential of live wire is 110 volts. And the potential of neutral is 0 volts. So now let's go back to the concept which we are discussing. The two wires come from the pole to the meter. One is phase, one is neutral, and once it goes to the meter, on the other end of the meter gives you back the same phase and neutral, and which goes inside the house. Now these two wires, phase and neutral, spreads across all the rooms of your house, and all the switches, all the appliances are got lit by these two wires. So this was very simple to explain and to listen. Let me now tell you in brief how the wires are distributed in your rooms, in your separate rooms, and all the appliances, all the connecting parts, so that they got lit by the individual switches. Suppose this portion, the bottom right portion which I have just highlighted here, is my room, and in my room I am having a light bulb. We denote the light bulb with this symbol in electricity. I am having a fan which again has two terminals, and I am having a tube light, a fluorescent tube light, which is having two terminals. Okay, now to control these three separate appliances, these three separate electrical appliances, we need to have a switchboard which should have at least 3 switches to control these. So that switchboard would something look like this. Here is the picture of that. Okay, now so let me draw the electrical symbol of these switches. Suppose this is my switchboard, and this is a switch for tube light. So let me mark it T. This is T. I need one more switch to control this fan. Let me mark it F. I need one more switch to control this bulb. This is blur, incandescent bulb, or you can put LEDs. Nowadays LEDs are much easy available and low consumption lighting devices. And now I have a separate switch, an individual switch to control all these switches, all these appliances, and I need one more switch to connect my phone charger. For example, you might have seen this kind of arrangement. This is the same as the picture I showed you just back. Let me show it to you back. Okay, so this is a socket which you generally see in the houses to charge your phone, to put the hair dryer or anything else you want to have, to add in, to plug the television into it. So I need to have one more switch to control the power supply in this socket. So these are the 4 switches, and this is socket, and this key belongs to this socket. Now what happens in this room, what we will be having one phase wire or the live wire and one neutral wire. These 2 wires are coming from this meter which is outside our house. Now let's see what happens. What we need to do, we need to provide phase and neutral to all of these appliances, but we need to provide them through the switch. So let's do one thing. To let this bulb lit, I need to provide the neutral to this bulb directly. And what I will do, I will stretch this phase wire across the switchboard and connect this phase to one of the terminal of this switch. The other end of the terminal of the other terminal of that switch will go to the bulb, something like this. So now what happens, the current flows from phase to neutral. So it goes like this, from phase it went like this. So here are the 2 divisions, so it will go here as well and here as well. Now what it sees here, that there is a connection break, the switch is off, the current stops flowing from here. So once anyone switch on this, so the connection becomes like this. It got connected, so the current starts flowing in this direction. It goes inside the bulb, it goes inside the filament of that bulb, and then back to the neutral, move. Now the circuit has been completed and the bulb will start glowing. Similarly, to control this fan, what I need to do, I need to connect this fan directly with that neutral. So for that, what I need to do, I will connect this end of this fan to this neutral wire. So I will take a new wire from here, I will go something like this, and I will connect this leg. I'm sorry for this interruption of the wires of the boundary, but let's say, suppose these are connected. So the wire is being taken from neutral directly and it's fed to the one terminal of fan. Again, I need to provide the phase to this terminal. So I'm having a phase wire running all across the switchboards. I will cut this phase wire again from here and put this terminal to the one end of this switch, and the other end of this fan switch will go inside the terminal of fan. So again, the current flows like this, it goes here. If the switch is on, it will lit the bulb, and it goes further. Here's again 2 divisions, so the current goes here and here as well. The current sees that the switch is off, it stops flowing from this direction. Once anybody switch on this key, the connection is made, the current starts flowing through this direction, and going through the winding of the fans, it is flown back towards the neutral, and the circuit is complete. Again, the fan will switch on and it will start rotating. For the tube light, same thing. From one terminal, I need to provide the neutral. I will take the neutral from here. Now I will cut the phase wire, the live wire from here, and put it to the key, and the other end of the key will go inside the tube light. Again, the current flows like this. Same way, will go here, and now this one. If the key is off, the current will not flow in this direction, then the tube light will not switch on. If someone switch on the key, it starts flowing in this direction, and it will complete the circuit like this, and the tube light will lit on. So now we are able to now control all the 3 appliances from the all different switches. Now it's now turn to provide some input to this socket. Again, we need to have the live and neutral both to this socket so as to make my phone charger work. So what I will do, I will take the neutral from here. I will put this neutral to one end of this switch, and again I will take a new wire from this phase wire, cut the initial phase wire, and put it to the socket switch. The other end of the socket switch will go directly like this. So in this way, phase is flowing like this, like this, like this, and see that the key is open, so no current will flow further. Once if someone switch it's on, it provides the neutral phase to here, and a neutral is being provided to here. So circuit is not yet completed. Whenever you provide any charger or any extra bulb through a bulb holder, you need to put to the both ends, and it will now complete the circuit further, and the charger or that bulb will start working. So this was it, and here is a new question to it: why I am controlling the phase through these keys? Why I am not providing the neutral through these keys and only providing the phase to these keys? So there is a very good logic behind it. The reason is, suppose if I provide phase to these appliances directly and I control the neutral from these keys, so in that case you are always providing phase to your appliances. Let's suppose you are cleaning your house and there is a defect in your fan, there is some defect in your fan and you are cleaning that fan. If phase is going directly to that fan, that it may provide you a big shock, it can kill you. So that's why what we actually do, we provide the phase through the switch. So whenever we are cleaning the fan, it's obvious that we will keep it switch off. So once I switch off the fan, the phase supply is cut off towards the fan and only fan is being fed with a neutral. And since I just told you that the neutral has a potential of 0, so even if you touch the bare neutral wire, it will not harm you, it will not give you any shock. So it's dangerless. So that's why it's always preferred to control the keys by the phase wire. Thank you guys. So this was our first video in Vigyan Club. In next video, I will teach you about, or we will discuss more about, how the electrical wiring is done for the inverter. So if you are owning an inverter, you might have seen that in your houses there is a single wire running through the whole house. So thank you guys.